Hello, Reverend Joseph John Hayab. You're CEO of a Christian Awareness Initiative of Nigeria from Kaduna City. You're welcome to SaharaTV.
Thank you very much. Escalation of insurgency in Nigeria is one of the unfortunate things we are facing. But if you ask me to comment about it, I will simply put it that we all here, we all did not understand exactly the challenge we have at hand. The Christian population in Nigeria, when this whole thing started, thought that the best way you can address it is to apportion blame. And this apportion blame become the game that the insurgents just find it easy to continue to play. Today they bomb a church, tomorrow they go to this particular denomination and stir up another problem, and then later on they now move again to the mosques. And the other side of it is that the Muslim in Nigeria did not also understand, because the two parties supposed to have played a good game in addressing this. But the Christians now wanted to play the blame game, and the Muslims also want to play the defensive game. And so when these two parties were busy defending themselves, permit me to say our government that's supposed to act as the sole authority that's supposed to maintain law and order now hide under this debate. You are the cause of this. There is a meeting between Muslims to eliminate Christians. No. These people are not Muslims. Probably they are even Christians hiding as Muslims to cause problem. So this confusion, and government couldn't even do anything. Because experience have shown that anytime you allow any serious issue to be driven by religious leaders and debate by them, government find it difficult to do anything. Sharia crisis is one of them. Even the Sharia crisis, I think the best the then president could say was that if Sharia is of God, it will survive. If it is not of God, it will die. But that's not the issue. The issue is beyond the issue of, you see, it's only in our country that when people have serious issues to address, they won't address the issue, they will use God as a cover. There are issues that God will address, but God has also given us the intellect, the human capacity to address certain issues that we're supposed to address them ourselves and hiding under God. You see, these are part of the problem we have with the issue of insurgency. And I've always said to young men that if we don't stop the blame game, we will not find solution to this. But the day we resolve, Christians and Muslims saying we want to address this issue, we want to fight this insurgency, we want to stop it, then we will begin to have a result. But every day, Christian leaders want to come out to the public and accuse every Muslim. And I used to say, if people care to listen, that is going to be the last thing I will ever accept is you telling me that every Muslim is part of a conspiracy to eliminate Christians. I don't understand where you get that theory, because there are 1,000,001 Muslims out there that I know who will never associate with anything to eliminate Christians. So if you do that, you are equally just telling the Muslims to also say that there is also a meeting among Christians to eliminate Muslims. And so this blame game discourse, keeping cycle of blame game, Christian blaming Muslim, Muslim blaming Christians, and nobody seems to be talking about how to address the issue of insurgency. This thing started because there were issues, whether we like it or not. There were issues. Government know about the issues. The people in the environment know about the issues. What did we do about them? Nobody talked about them. All we do is to sit down and just blame this group, blame that group, and nobody is discussing why. But permit me to also correct that. The challenge in Southern Kaduna is a little bit different from that of the Northeast. The simple reason is that for the Southern Kaduna people, we've been living in peace with the Fulanis and the Muslims in Southern Kaduna for a very long time. Yeah, we've had pockets of crisis like the 1987 crisis in college of education, the Zangon Katab crisis in 1992, and a few other crises. But these crises have never escalated to the extent that we are facing today. What happened? After the elections of 2011, some group of people felt that the elections were decided on the basis of religion and wanted to react. Now, there were attacks in some part of Kaduna and some part of the north. And the Southern Kaduna community alleged that they saw a moving vehicle that was passing through their community with guns or weapons, and they reacted to it. But because already there's tension in Kaduna, there's tension in other parts of the north, the concentration was not on them alone. Everywhere there was tension, they capitalized on that and killed themselves. Christians killing Muslims, Muslims killing Christians. But immediately after that, a good number or the few Muslims that live among Christians in southern Kaduna ran away, especially the Fulani nomads. When they left southern Kaduna, some of them moved to Bauchi, others moved to Nasarawa, others moved to Jos, another part of the north. Now, this group of people are being instigated by other groups to believe that since we've been living in peace with these people and just overnight they stand up and carry dagger against us, let's go back to their communities, cause mayhem on them, and make them feel the pains we feel during the post-election violence. Nobody have actually sat down to understand that this crisis did not actually start in southern Kaduna. This crisis was even in another part of Kaduna before southern Kaduna had an experience. The fact is that I was in Kaduna then. I know exactly that the night of the presidential election, there was a bomb explosion in Kabala West of Kaduna. It was not in Kachia, neither was it in Kafanchan. And the next day, there were all these rumors that the small minority Christians that live in Kabala West were being attacked. So the challenge now is that Christians thinking, how do we get our brothers who are in Kabala West out? And then rumors started spreading that, no, they've killed everybody. And the truth is that no one at that time had died. But you know how rumors fly in Nigeria, and sadly for us, GSM is supposed to be a means of communication, but GSM has become a channel for propaganda, spreading of falsehood, and spreading what is not. So before you know, there was confusion all over. So when this kind of rumor went to southern Kaduna, it was just an easy thing for people to react and say, okay, they've killed our brothers already, we are also defending. Just like it was going on already in Zaria, another part of the north, Gombe, Kano, and other places were burned. Look, in the northern part of Kaduna, what was actually going on was young men were going from house to house, destroying, burning houses and vehicles of anybody that they perceived to have identified with PDP. This was what happened. And so that confusion led to the killing, and it was all over the state. But the insurgency turned out to be the retaliation, as today they want to call it, is mostly among southern Kaduna because of other issues I've explained a little about it, that the few Fulanis that ran away now regroup in certain places, and once in a while they will sit down, study the area, and say, this man and that man were the ones that killed my brother. Okay, let's just come in the night, cause mayhem in their community, and run away. That's why up to today, nobody have been able to finger or point and hold any one person responsible for the attack in southern Kaduna. That's where security comes in. If security will do her work, I've always said the biggest challenge of Nigerian security is poor intelligence. Our security lack intelligence. The fact about it is that our security are more, even our intelligence system, supposed to be more like an enforcement group than an intelligent group. They don't gather information. They celebrate more arresting someone and embarrassing in public than doing. I sometimes see what happened in government and other places. Young men who are supposed to be doing fantastic security job for the country are busy following leaders. During occasion, you will see how they are bulldozing, maltreating everybody, overzealousness, and that's not the work. I don't think they were recruited to do that job. Primarily, they were recruited to gather intelligence for the country. That's not what we're getting today. We're rather getting young men who prefer to parade themselves as soldiers protecting powerful people in government, which I'm not sure the powerful people in government are really happy even with it. Unless we do something about it, these kind of challenges will keep coming because no intelligence gathering, so you don't even know what is going to happen. So you just sit and people will come and attack you. And when they attack, then the cycle of reprisal comes back again. Okay, they've attacked us, we're going to attack them back. We're going to attack them back. Okay, when you attack, now and again you are going to hit at someone who is not part of that group. He also will go and regroup with another group. So recently our group met with some Christian young men and Muslim young men from southern Kaduna, and we said to them, look, we must find a way of stopping this thing. But let's talk to ourselves frankly. I'm actually a peace advocate and a peace practitioner, but one thing I've tried to see, I differ from many groups these days, is I don't like this peace work that is more of a conference thing. Just call people for a conference, make speeches, and everybody go. Have you really called the people to talk? Let them talk and tell you what is their problem and how they want the problem solved. Most time we come and teach them the grammar we know, and we've never discussed with them. So these are some of the things we are feeling. If they are addressed, we'll be able to get over this insurgency or these attacks that are going on in southern Kaduna, going on in many parts of northern Nigeria. This thing, you cannot completely separate it from politics. have many problems in Nigeria, and we need to address them. But let me look at it from the religious point of view. The greatest undo of Nigeria today is the way and manner religion is being manipulated in virtually every good thing. The fact about it is that if you come out today in Nigeria and you want to openly speak out your mind, nobody is going to judge you because you are speaking the truth or you are speaking what is right. People will first want to know, are you a Christian or a Muslim? Here you are speaking what is true and what is right, but they are not interested in what is true, what is right. They are interested in your faith. Your faith should not be the deciding factor. The fact is that there are 1,000,001 good Muslims in Nigeria, and there are also 1,000,001 good Christians in Nigeria. These two groups of people must stop manipulating every issue and turning every sensible issue into religious issue. We use religion in our voting. We use religion in the policies of our government. If government is not performing and you challenge government, someone will tell you are challenging the government because it's not your faith. If government have performed and you are supporting the government, they say you are supporting because it's your faith. I'm not sure that's the right thing. Religious leaders must also help themselves to really, you see, I believe in being Nigerian and then called to be a pastor. Okay, I should use my faith as a Christian and my calling as a pastor to improve my country, to better the activities of my nation, to promote the unity of Nigeria and promote the development of Nigeria. But if I use my calling as a pastor and my faith as a Christian to destroy every good thing called Nigeria or to destroy every good person, just because he's not my faith. I have examples of so many good people that have been given offices in Nigeria. If they are performing to the best of their ability, someone will just sit somewhere and say, no, they are actually victimizing Christians or they are victimizing Muslims. And you look at the issues on ground. There is nothing like Muslim and Christian. The man who steals our money, steals our money. So if the man in charge of monetary policy in Nigeria realizes that someone has stolen our money and want him to be arrested, all of us in Nigeria should support him so that they arrest that person, prosecute that person. But the moment you start bringing religion, you tie his hand. It will take a courageous man to continue to pursue such an agenda. You tie his hand, he will no longer pursue it. And now, this same person who have actually stolen our money will sit hiding under religion, and there's no development he will bring to Nigeria, because I'm not sure there is a place in the Bible that says that steal people's public fund and come and serve God. No. The Bible never said so. And neither is there a place in the Quran that says steal public fund and come and be the imam. No. The Quran and Bible, from the best of my knowledge, says, simply put it, that you have to be fair, just to your fellow human being. And fairness and just to fellow human beings is, don't take what belongs to Stephen. Don't take what belongs to Abdullahi. Let Abdullahi and Stephen also have what rightfully belongs to them in the country. Those who steal our money, take what belongs to Stephen, take what belongs to Abdullahi, but they will come and hide under religion, and they will not allow us. So if we want to have a headway in Nigeria, our leaders must stop manipulating religion. Religion leaders must also stop playing into the hands of selfish politicians who manipulate religion. We are almost at the verge of going into another election year. My prayer and message for Nigerians is, nobody should campaign and promote a candidate on the basis of religion. He will never do you any good. The fact about it is that if you ever vote anybody on the basis of religion, that is another step towards our total burial or final burial. We must vote credible Nigerians, competent Nigerians who will deliver the good, and we go on. I'm sorry, recently I even went to a function and I saw the national president of CAN being escorted by a military man in uniform. I felt embarrassed. I knew that something is wrong with my country. There's no reason for that. There's no reason for that. Well, I may not want to join others in calling him a de facto minister, but if the leader of Nigeria today feels that he cannot lead Nigeria without the president of CAN, he's making a mistake. We don't need the president of CAN to lead Nigeria, but as a believer, he should accord the president of CAN, a minister, the respect he deserves, but not to worship him and turn him to be part of his cabinet. His job as a pastor and the president of CAN is, among the Christians, one, to mobilize Christians to support Nigerian programs that will bring about development. Number 2, to sensitize Christians on how they can participate in every civic responsibility. And number 3, also to promote the spirituality of Christians in the country, or educate them on other issues that may be of help. But once he becomes a de facto minister, then something is wrong with the system. I think that's not only to Christians, but Muslims also have this challenge that sometimes the leaders of Nigeria feel if he has not listened to a prominent leader, Islamic cleric, it's not true. Some of them don't even have understanding of what governance is all about. I'm a pastor and I want to separate between our understanding of governance and our understanding of church governance. Church governance and national governance are sometimes quite different things. So when leaders, political leaders, misunderstand the role of religious leaders and assume they must go and seek for clearance from them, then they are missing the mark. Sometimes we tell them things that are not even supposed to be. Our primary job is actually to pray for them, to give our support. But if we turn the whole thing to be our own, then something is wrong. If the president of our country today see the serving president of CAN as a de facto minister, then something is wrong with that system. And I strongly advise that that should stop. But I've had discussion with many clerics in Nigeria. I can tell you that there are many prominent clerics in Nigeria that will not associate themselves with this kind of idea you are saying about. As far as they are concerned, that policy is wrong. We are church people. Our job is to pray. Our job is to teach people about God, to encourage people to serve their nation faithfully. When we double beyond that level, then we are going to something else. Well, let me look at it from a peace practitioner point of view. Why do we have conflict? We have conflict because people refuse in the first place to sit on a round table to dialogue. When people refuse to sit on a round table to dialogue, they go to war. But sadly, after the killings, after the destruction, they will need to still come back to the round table to dialogue. Permit me to say that we have leaders in some country today that are beginning to say, wait a minute, can we continue this military confrontation and have solution? Yes, we will protect our sovereignty, we will protect our political integrity, but there are other ways you do in talking. When Abacha was president in Nigeria, despite the fact that the American government do not like Abacha, the American government still appointed an envoy who was having a kind of conversation with Abacha towards the issue of Liberia and others. So what we are saying is that there must be a way that we can reach out to the people. And the stories coming out from the media today shows that there are prominent Nigerians that have access to the people. Why don't we capitalize on that? Do we love Nigeria more than them? Are we thinking they don't care about Nigeria? If we capitalize on that, we'll be building, as the military are doing their own, if they are doing anything at all, I don't want to conclude, then we do the other ones. If the negotiation, the dialogue gives us result, we just ask the military, no more fund for the guns. So we've gotten result. But if we say we cannot find other means of solving our problem, and we think military alone, the military in the first place not necessarily tell us exactly what happened, because the confusion we have today about Chibok girls is because of the poor information we receive. Today they've gotten girls, no, tomorrow they were misinformed, and we get confused. So if we already have that system, I think the CNC should know that, then we must use another carrot. You see, in my tribe we have an adage that says, you don't know that the stick that will kill a witch. In conflict management, you don't use just one thing and say you will solve the problem. There are other processes of solving the problem. Government may not, like President Jonathan, or no, but there are other. Why is National Security Advisor there? So that he will use his network, working with other people, and see if there is a way we can get, what do they want? Someone can discuss with them about what they want. And gradually, American that actually pride herself that she will not exchange her soldiers for terrorists did that recently. That means there are other options that we can find in bringing lasting solutions. When we talk about the death of Patrick Yakowa, I have two angles to it. Number one, as a faith man, I have the angle of saying God is the ultimate. He knows everything. But secondly, I also have the angle of saying, wait a minute, an helicopter crash, have we investigated? What happened? You see, we are not investigating the crash of the helicopter to create problem for anybody, but it will also help us. We won't stop using helicopter, you know? We won't stop flying, you know? So investigation just helps us to understand the kind of helicopters we use among our community, so that in the future, leaders will be careful when they have such kind of offer to join it. So, but we have a situation where this man died. There are so many unraveled issues about his death, and there is no proper investigation. I ever said this, and I want to repeat it in this medium, that during the death of Yakowa, I know the Nigerian Governors Forum came in their number. I was part of those who received them and make certain promises that they are going to investigate this, but they just forget this immediately Yakowa was buried, which is one of the problems we have in Nigeria, where leaders make lip service to issues and cannot follow it. The truth about it is that the government of Nigeria needs to investigate what really happened about the aircraft. So in 10 years, 20 years to come, one should go back to either an archive and just remove the document and see, within so time there was a plane crash which will involve a governor in Kaduna State. This was what the investigation finds out. It helps in informing people so that in the future people will correct. But where this kind of investigation is not done, well, I come back to my first option. As a religious man, I say God is the ultimate. So we leave everything to God. But I don't think it's the right thing for a country that wants to develop. A country that wants to develop and is refusing to investigate issues and things that are happening around her, it can turn around and happen to another person tomorrow. So where do you go?
Thank you very much.
I appreciate this.